Welcome to episode number 52 of the Between Two Brands podcast. That's right. We've done a year's worth of these episodes, and yet here we still are. I am also still your host, Bill Petrie. And I want to thank you again for joining me. I know we are already in January and already in the thick of trade show season. We'll get to that in a minute. But before we do, let's go ahead and pay the rent, shall we? Always good to do. Hey, folks, there is so much good coming from BEL promo these days. Here's just a few things. Lowest minimums in the industry. Yeah, you can BEL promo that. Deepest inventory around. Oh, you can absolutely BEL promo that. 5-star and A+ service. Oh, you can BEL promo that. How about 2-day production on most of their products? Absolutely. You can BEL promo that. Now, if that weren't enough, and gosh darn it, it should be. The good folks at BEL Promo have a few other things they like to share. Made in the USA merch? Absolutely, you can BEL Promo that. Free shipping on tech and apparel items? Oh, yeah, you can BEL Promo that too. Hey, head over to belpromo.com and see all their amazing merchandise solutions and feel confident that when your client asks you to create branded merchandise that's available with low minimums and 2-day production, you can tell them, yeah, you can BEL Promo that. All right, as I mentioned in the little preamble there before the sponsor read, this is January 9th. Again, probably know I'm recording this early because I'm spending some time with family. Um, but it is trade show season. And I don't know any other industry, maybe NASCAR. NASCAR seems to have their biggest race, the first race of the season. I don't know any other industry that absolutely goes out of the gate so hard and so fast as we do in branded merchandise. It's truly amazing. The industry, for the most part, shuts down between December 23rd and 24th through January 2nd. It just does. And I know that kind of bothers some people. Man, I think it's awesome. I think it's fantastic because I don't know about anybody else, but the weeks leading up to Christmas and Hanukkah for those who celebrate and all the other holidays, but Christmas, New Year's, all that stuff, those weeks are always just ridiculously busy, insanely busy. Now, for me personally, I haven't been home for a weekend. I'm recording this in December, but I haven't been home. I was home the first weekend in December and then missed the next two because we had my son's graduation from Mississippi State University. Graduated with an engineering degree. And then the following weekend, we moved him to Dallas, where he is going to begin his career as a project engineer for Garney Construction. So you add all the normal stuff of just the hot, just how pressure packed the holidays are. You add that to it. And then you take into account, at least for me personally, I'm a one-person shop. I'm a solopreneur. I talked about that on the previous podcast. And so when I want to take time off, and I've talked about this before, if I want to take time off, I need to absolutely plan that in advance. I have to do weeks and weeks of work because you know what? The marketing doesn't stop. The industry may shut down, but the marketing doesn't stop. And I will tell you, I absolutely love how our industry shuts down. It is going to, I cannot tell you how excited I am. I get to recharge, kind of chill, remember what it's like to get bored. I don't even know what that feels like right now. I cannot wait for that. Can't wait for time to spend with family and friends. And then as this podcast drops on January the 9th, I'm heading to Expo and I'm super excited about Expo as I am every year. Again, we start off with bang. A lot of people have already been to ASI Orlando, but the real Super Bowl of the promotional products industry is PPAI Expo. And it is a jam-packed week of networking, reconnecting, making new connections. And it's a great way to start the year off with an absolute lightning bolt. And I love that. I love coming out of the gate like that after a pause. And I'm excited this year because, again, I have the honor of presenting on Conference Day, which is Monday, 3 days from when this is dropping, Monday, January the 12th. And I'm talking about being a solopreneur. My session title is called the Solopreneur Circus, and I'm going to talk about branding and tactics that can help you be much more efficient because so many of us in this industry are either solopreneurs or we have a big enough job in a small enough company where you feel like I am a solopreneur because you have so many hands, so many fingers in so many different pots. And I'm really excited about this presentation. If you want to join me, I'd love it. There's a lot of great education on Monday, but my session is in Mandalay Bay D It's the big room from what they told me in the Mandalay Bay Conference Center, and it's at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'd love to see you there this year. Last year, my session was sold out, for lack of a better term. They had to shut the doors about 10 minutes before I even started due to fire regulations. And so, if you want to be part of that or part of any of the magical and wonderful education sessions that there are going to be during conference day at PPAI Expo, you're going to want to make notes and get there early. I'm telling you from experience, you definitely want to be there early. But right now, I'm kind of mentally getting ready. I'm starting to do my packing, making sure I have the options of clothing and shoes that I absolutely want to have. And I'm super excited to see everybody in Las Vegas here in just a couple days. Before we get to our guest, I'm going to pay one more little piece of rent, but I'm really excited about our guest today. Just really excited. Talking about Expo, we're going to lead right into that. That's why I was talking about it during the opening shot. But before that, let's go ahead and pay that rent. Hey, many people know how to build a business, but very few understand not only when to sell that business, but the process involved to ensure that you find the right partner to maximize the return on your investment. Now, honestly, that's why you need an expert, specifically an expert in the promotional product space. And that's to help you. And that's where our good friends over at Certified Marketing Consultants come in. Now, Jamie Watson and her team have decades of experience facilitating private company sales in the promotional products space. Now, to help you evaluate if it's time for to sell your business, reach out to Jamie and her team at info@certifiedmarketing.com for a confidential discussion today. All right, let's hop right into our guest and a great conversation about PPAI and Expo. My guest today has absolutely no need for an introduction, but let's waste some of his time, some of yours, perhaps some of mine, and introduce him anyway. For the past year, he has been the president and CEO of PPAI and brought with him a track record of delivering results across nonprofit trade associations and for-profit sectors. Now, prior to joining PPAI, he served as the Chief Experience Officer at Meetings Professionals International, that's MPI for those of you scoring at home and love the acronyms, where he oversaw 7 core business units. Count them with me: marketing, creative strategy, membership, events, media, chapters, and volunteers. Yep, that's 7. Even my Texas A&M education will tell me that. More than anything, he is someone who truly cares about this industry, and we all know you can't teach care, and he cares about the people who compromise it, or not compromise it, who comprise it. You can tell I'm already on vacation. He's about to head into his second PPAI Expo. Please join me in welcoming the lovely and talented Drew Holmgreen. Drew, thank you for taking the time to record this podcast a couple weeks before we hit the Expo floor.
Glad to do it, Bill. Really honored to be a part of it, and being described as lovely. That's a first. So thank you for that note.
I mean it with every fiber of my being. You are lovely. You are lovely. So I want to ask you right out of the gate, first year on the job, you've completed just about 12 months now,
Yep.
darn close to it. What was your biggest surprise?
Yeah. So I spent 17 years in the agency space, 7 years at MPI. So I got a pretty good grasp of, the not-for-profit and the for-profit sectors. I've been exposed to just about every industry that there is, retail to automotive to tourism and hospitality to military, you name it, I've been there. I think one of the biggest surprises that I've seen, and I'm going to give you two answers just because they're kind of it's 1A, 1B, and they alternate on which one I'm most surprised in.
Drew,
Uh,
that is fine because I am flexible.
that's good. I see what you did there. It's a good dad joke. The first one I'll talk to is the generational aspect of this industry. It is incredible to me how many successful businesses there exist in our industry that have been passed down from generation to generation. And what makes it so remarkable and is just a testament to what this industry and community is like is that with each passing generation, that business seems to grow. I think there's a large perception and very false when it comes to this industry that the next generation is just going to kind of cash in a paycheck and move on. And what you see instead is you see these next generations come up and in some cases taking over when they're in their late 20s and
Hmm.
bringing a youthful vibrance, bringing new innovations, bringing new thinking and progressive insights that just take that company to the next level. You can look at certainly Geiger as just
Yeah.
generation after generation after generation. And I every conversation I have with David, I get more and more impressed with him and where that company is going. But then Alex at Warwick Publishing. I mean,
Yep. Alex Pascal came to mind as you were talking.
yeah, what Alex is doing there at Warwick is just brilliant.
Yeah.
You look at headwear. I mean, the list just it goes on and on and on. It's so impressive.
Penco,
Yep.
Kaiser and Blair. I mean, we could go
Yep.
on and on. I mean,
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
So that's one thing that really surprised me and stuck out with me. And I think we at PPAI have actually harnessed that, and we do a good job of having panels and education, and we try and connect these generational leaders so that they're building on each other. So I think we're doing a good job of that. But that shocked me. I think I might actually. So today this is going to be 1A. 1A is the collaboration,
Yep.
and the reason it stuck with me is just I was having a conversation about it last week. So again, knowing my past at on the ad agency space. So the ad agency space is incredibly dog eat dog. I mean, I tell people all the time that there was no particular instance where I didn't feel the tickle of a knife in my back at some point. And ultimately, it was one of the reasons why I got out of the business because I just to be real frank, I got sick of being screwed over by mentors, and that's just not supposed to happen. And
No.
so, what you see in this industry, and I had this conversation Friday night with a friend of mine who's got an up and coming company, and I was talking to him about, hey, got a real opportunity to do something in merch, and he said, well, I don't want to tell my story to other people like me. And he said, that's the funny thing is you can tell this to people who might be competitive to you, and they'll find inroads for you because that's
Mhm.
just the way this industry works. I mean it's remarkable. At Expo, I'll go have dinner with Jonathan Isaacson has this great dinner
Yep.
on Sunday night, and around that table are the leaders of all of these great companies, and they are just opening up about what they're experiencing. And I've gone to meet with Legacy Group and sat around. They were nice enough to let me sit around the table when they were doing some real planning exercises, and you've got CEOs and other C-level and EVPs sitting there telling their industry secrets to one another, and it's so they can help each other. That doesn't happen. Like that's remarkable to me.
It's one of the biggest things I've seen a shift in the industry, probably the last 5 to 8 years. Because it used to be this secret society. Distributors wouldn't talk to other distributors. I used to joke that our industry was founded on complete paranoia and mild alcoholism, which was a joke. But there was some truth to that paranoia part of it. That has really dissipated, like I said. And I think to your 1A is the newer generations coming in. They don't have time for that. They
Right.
are much more about collaboration over competition. And I absolutely love it. So I think the advice you gave your friend is spot on. Is there
Yeah.
anything you wish you would have done differently your first year?
Yeah, I have a tendency to move fast. I just again was having this conversation this morning and apologizing to one of our team members because I have a tendency to make a decision, informed decision. I'm very much, you look at my culture index and my predictive index, and I'm a collaborator. Like I want to get informed and everything, but then I move. And
Yeah.
I do have a tendency to move a little fast, and I have suffered a little bit in the lack of communications sometimes. So because I see an opportunity, I inform how we're going to do it, and then just go. Sometimes I lack on the communication side. So there's some things internally I think that we could have benefited from a little bit better communications and that sort by me.
That's being human too, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we all make mistakes, and in uh, my dad would say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So I get where you're coming from. You want to move quickly
Yeah.
because I think all of us would agree nonprofit associations tend to move at a glacial pace.
Correct.
And so I think the approach is refreshing, and I love the fact your transparency of, hey, I need to be better. And
Yep.
I absolutely love that.
Yeah, yeah. And look, I mean, there's every good leader always has areas for improvement, and certainly I'm a first time in the seat CEO, so there's lots of things I can get better at,
I
Bill.
get it. I get it. I remember the first time I managed people. I was
hmm
terrible at it. I
hmm
mean, absolutely horrible. I'd like to think I'm better now, but maybe there's a reason I'm a solopreneur. Anyway, so this is to me, even though you were at Expo last year, it's where we met, You were drinking from a fire hose. I mean, your
Yeah.
head was completely on a swivel. What is your feeling going, in my opinion, your first real expo?
Yeah. Yeah. So what I like about going into this one is I gain the benefit of knowing more about the industry, knowing more about the people, and knowing that I need to be prepared for about 4,000 hugs. So that's good to
We're
be.
we're an industry of huggers,
It's a
as you
very
know.
huggy community. That's cool. I don't have a whole lot of physical space issues, so that's cool by me. Um, I'm excited about going in this year because this was a strategic planning year for PPAI.
Yeah,
Honestly, Bill, that was one of the selling points for the gig. When I was looking at this and they said, "Hey, this is one of the challenges that you're going to be faced with if this works out," and I said, "That's not a challenge. That is
that's
the
exciting.
definition of an opportunity, right?" And so that's what I'm excited about is that we just, I mean, finished this process last week. Board reviewed it with the entire board last week, got triple thumbs up on it. So we're ready to roll. And so this is going to be introduced at Expo. So
Awesome.
that is like the biggest excitement like that I've got in coming to this event this year.
I'm excited to see that strategic plan. I always think it's great in the world, so I'm truly excited to
Yeah.
see that. Speaking of just Expo, again, transparency, we're recording this on December 22nd
Yep.
because I don't want to do it next week. It's that simple. And he's going to be skiing somewhere. So deal with it, folks.
Yeah. Yeah.
But today, this drops on January the 9th. People are packing, people are getting ready to go. What would you like members to know about all that goes into planning essentially the Super Bowl, the promotional products industry in PPAI Expo?
So first off, if you see somebody, one of the team PPAI members, they'll have, a badge on. Most of us will be wearing PPAI shirts. Take a moment just to say thank you. Please take a moment to say thank you. This team puts so much effort. The planning for 2026 started in 2024 when
Yeah.
2025 was still being developed. Okay. And we're already well down the road on 2027 right now. So this is a long, long process. This team takes no time off between now and January
Yeah.
15th. So, there is going to be work from all of us that's taking place on Christmas Eve, on Christmas Day. And that's what it's like. So please, when you get a chance, acknowledge this team and thank them for their efforts. There's a
They
lot of
need your hugs too, people.
they
They need your
definitely
hugs.
need your hugs, big time. There's a lot of intentionality that goes behind every decision. So Ashley Vanderstuyf, who's our
Mhm.
senior manager of events and expositions, she
Yep.
is brilliant. Sorry about
She's
that.
fantastic.
She is brilliant about all things events related.
Yep.
And again, intentional about all these decisions. So what I like about Ashley a lot is she thinks about how to flip things on their sides a little bit. So in terms of expectations, we're going to have little surprise and delight moments that you're not going to have, considered coming at you. Food options and things like that are going to be a little bit different. We've taken ways to elevate certain experiences. We're back at Allegiant
Hmm.
for one of our parties, which
Yep.
is going to be extraordinary.
And by the way, that's the closing party
That
on
is
Wednesday.
correct.
There, you can still get your tickets at ppai.org/expo.
It's like you're a marketer. It's amazing. And to that end, we are all marketers in this industry.
Yes, we are.
But yeah, we're going to be doing like, punt, pass, and kick contests. I will throw this out there. I'm a former collegiate football player, so I'm happy to take on any challenges out there. And I was an offensive
Wow.
lineman, but I can do other stuff, assuming that
Wow.
my knee heals between now and then. So yeah, just everything is going to be a little bit there's going to be little tweaks and things that are going to be different going into this year. So, but again, right now we are pacing just to be as big as we were last year. What's interesting going into this year is we're actually pacing to have more companies represented on site,
That's great.
which is great. And that is again intentional in nature. And that's how our distributor and supplier relationships teams led by Ellen and Michelle and Mason, they really push for a focus on getting new blood there, getting qualified distributors there, getting the best suppliers there. So you really are. You said Super Bowl. It's absolutely that for this industry.
Let's talk about new board chair. You have a new board
Yeah.
chair. When this drops, the episode previous to this will be Denise Taschereau. And I asked her about her year as board chair and things like that. What I want to ask you slightly different is from you work for the organization. What is the process of onboarding a new board chair, essentially one of your bosses for the
Yeah.
next year?
So first off, whenever somebody asks me, how's your board? I give them the same answer, incredibly supportive and awesome people. I could not have come into a better scenario.
Yeah.
Andrew Spellman, who technically hired me,
Mhm.
have a great relationship with Andrew. He's been such a good mentor and leader. Denise has been an extraordinary leader and mentor and colleague and confidant and friend, and just the words keep going that are all positive. She is
She's lovely.
absolutely, oh my gosh. I mean, I don't know if I would have been as successful this first year as I have been without her. And then Danny coming in, Danny is fantastic. And then what's interesting, and then Zach Ottenstein immediately after that. These are all very different individuals, but they're
Hmm.
all the same in their passion for the industry and their intent to ensure that we succeed. So in terms of Danny, we do some things that are both formal and informal in bringing our new board chair into place. So Danny and I are actually going to go do some education at the end of January. We go to an ASAE event that's intended to bind together a CEO and the chair and really
Oh,
teach
it's
them
great.
how to work together. Correct. Yeah, and then we do culture
Cool.
index. So
Hmm.
Danny and Zach are both coming in mid-February for culture index training, and again, we'll learn what our patterns are and how we can best work with one another. So I think we've done a good job at PPAI of taking advantage of resources that allow us to really work as a good team.
Hmm.
And then just lots of conversations. Like Danny and I talk every single week, mostly every single day about something. And 9 times out of 10, it's on the positive, but there's always little conflicts that come up. And again, this team has been so extraordinary about how to deal with any of the challenges and empowering me and just informing the team on how best to push forward.
Yeah, and shame on me. I should have said this earlier when you mentioned the people who work at PPAI earlier. You inherited a tremendous team,
Amazing team. Yeah.
and what reminded me of that is you also inherited a tremendous board.
Yep.
It's almost a murderer's row of people who care in
Yep.
Andrew Spellman, Denise Taschereau, and then Danny Rose, and you've got that's great, and I love to hear that. You mentioned earlier new strategic plan. I don't know how much you're willing to share. If you're not, and by the way, you can say, Bill, I'm not willing to share at all. We're going to drop it at Expo. But is there any sneak peek you can give us?
Um, the sneak peek that I'll tell you is that we made some pretty significant changes to vision, mission, and our strategic pillars. This is a great evolution from where we were 5 years ago to where the industry is heading now, and it does a great job of leaning into trends, leaning into opportunities, and making some concerted adjustments. So there's some there's some pretty significant shifts. I think the theme that I'll tell you, and that this is no secret because this long-term vision plays into the strategy, is we're really harnessing that aspect of marketing.
Yeah.
Really moving merch along, moving it away from product and into marketing channel. That's where the opportunity resides, and that's where this vision, this mission, our strategic pillars, that's what it all really works to reinforce.
Love that. I couldn't agree more. PPAI, just like any non-for-profit association, is really a volunteer-driven. It's membership-driven, but it's also volunteer-driven to get things done. How do you view the new strategic plan and helping drive more members to be involved and engage in the coming years?
Yeah, well, one thing that we've actually done this year going into 26 is to, again, I use the word harness here a lot today, but to better harness our members as volunteers. So we created a new position within PPAI called the Manager of Volunteer and Administration, and
Okay.
actually moved a current team member, Kathleen Brethauer, who was the executive director of the foundation, moved
Mhm.
her into that role because she had great experience on the volunteer side. Again, that was done with a whole lot of intentionality because good associations have a heavy reliance on their volunteers. Volunteers are the backbone of what makes an association strong, and it's multifold. One is we are a not-for-profit, which means our pockets are not deep, and that also means that we have to operate fairly lean in terms of staff. So the way that we can overcome that leanness is to lean into our volunteers and work with them to create tactical deliveries on strategies that are aligned with our strategic plan and fit within their scope. So we have 14 volunteer groups, and we are going to really pursue them this year and be very active with them throughout the year. That's good for PPAI because it extends our bandwidth. It's great for the membership because, I mean, call it what it is. This gives you leadership and resume experience. Now, being part of whether it's leading or just having the skins on your wall associated with volunteering at a not-for-profit like PPAI, it just screams opportunity within your career space.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I spoke about this last week with Denise. When I decided to start volunteering, it was a total game changer for me. And it's changed the scope and shape of my career, the arc of my career. And I would tell anybody who's thinking about getting involved, you want a seat at the table,
Mhm.
get involved on a PPAI committee, raise your hand, get off the bleachers, get into the game. You will absolutely not regret this. No matter what you think your expertise is, you know more than you think you do. You have something to say, and I will tell you, people want to hear it. So
Yep.
absolutely reach out to Kathleen or, whatever you're interested in and get involved.
Yeah, we start that recruitment process, I want to say August, September-ish of this year. So we're all of our 14 different work groups or volunteer groups are set for this year, but you can kind of keep an eye on what they're doing and start to identify what you want to do. And then yeah, reach out to Kathleen get on that list of, hey, my hand is up, I want to volunteer.
No, love it, love it. You and I have worked together on PPEF and which is Promotional Products Education Foundation and GRAC, the Government Relations Action Committee. I'm going to talk really about PPEF because
Yeah.
you
Good.
really, and I mean this in the most positive sense, you've come in hot off the gate of, hey, we can do better here.
Yeah.
We can increase the amount of money distributed to deserving students. What is it about PPEF that has really made you so passionate?
Well, first off, I think it's our duty to find a way to give back to the association. At the end of the day, we are not for profit, so we put more into creating value than we do into creating profit. Everything we do has a full intent of giving back to the industry. So when a member signs up and pays their dues, whatever that amount is, it's just coming right back. There's nothing that goes in our pockets. It all goes back into the industry. The foundation personifies that in a much more tangible way. So, I come from a background of I always got more out of the not for profits or nonprofits that I worked with as clients back in the day. I enjoyed those clients so much more than lining the pockets of Bell Helicopter and lining the pockets of 7-Eleven. I really enjoyed working on those nonprofits. There's a small one here in Dallas called Children's Cancer Fund that we rebranded from the ground up, and now it's just absolutely taken off. It's great. So I take a lot of pride in those scenarios. And this particular industry, when I've had the fortune this year of visiting so many of our members, and when I walk through the hallways of Gemline with Jonathan, or I walk here, around Promo Shop with Kate Alves, or around Overture with Tesh, like when you start to see the culture there and see how many of these individuals are also generational, and that generation has taken advantage of PPF and has gotten scholarships for the next to go on and get formal education. And a lot of times, Bill, you find these families that start at, I'm using Gemline as an example, that start at a Gemline, and then their child comes along, and that child becomes the first one to go to college, and part of that is funded by PPF. That's our why. That's the next generation. That's why we do what we do.
Yeah, I love that. I'm rolling off the board here in
And thank
January.
you
It's
for
been
that. You've done a ton for PPF, man.
no, it's my honor to
Basically the
be.
CMO for PPF for a while.
It's been a nice. It's been enjoy. I've enjoyed it, and now I'm on GRAC, which I'm really passionate
Yeah.
about. That's my passion project is because I still believe the most important thing PPAI does is lead.
Yep.
I really do. So it's fun, and working with you is great. Now I've asked all my questions. Is there anything you wanted to ask me or talk about? Are we
Well,
missing anything?
I'm going to turn the mirror kind of back to you. What are you looking for? What are you looking forward to at Expo this year?
Kind of what I do every year. I spoke about this in the little preamble to the podcast. It's strange in our industry that we race till about December 15th. Then there's a nice little lull. Not for anybody at PPAI who's working on an expo, I can tell you that.
Correct.
But there's a nice little low. Almost every company shuts down. I'm shutting down for a week just to kind of breathe. And there's no easing into January.
Right.
A lot of people will go to ASI Orlando, but almost everybody's going to PPI Expo. So
Right.
by January 11th, you better be running at full speed. And
Right.
I kind of dig that. So I'm excited. I'm excited about seeing people. It's always about the people. You've mentioned that in many different ways, but throughout this little conversation, it's the people. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to. I'm honored again. I get to speak on a conference day, education day on Tuesday, speaking about being a solopreneur and what that's like and how people can be more efficient being a solopreneur because it's not easy all the time.
Yeah.
In fact, it's not easy a lot of the time. Shh, don't tell anybody. But no, it's so I'm excited about that. And I'm excited now. I'm excited to see what the strategic plan is.
Yeah, I
So
did. I couldn't give too much there. I gave just enough of the tease. Yeah.
look, if I didn't ask, I wouldn't respect myself. And if you answered it, I wouldn't have respected you.
There we go.
So
Fair
you
enough. Fair
handled it
enough.
properly.
Fair enough.
I guess the last question I have, do you think on December 31st you're going to feel the cheesiest?
Only if we beat Michigan. Only if we beat Michigan.
I will go on record. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm a Texas A&M Aggie. I was a University of Texas Longhorn.
Yep.
We go back and forth on it. I will be rooting for the Texas Longhorns on New Year's Eve day. So, good luck
Bill,
to you
it
guys.
is every time I root for, I went for A&M and OU this year because I want to see my former Big 12 colleagues do well in the SEC. And y'all both lost. And I swear, every single time I go for A&M, every single time I go for Oklahoma, they lose. And maybe I'm the death kiss there. I don't know.
I had an opportunity to actually go to the Texas A&M playoff game. We
Hmm.
are in Dallas, moving my son to Dallas. He starts his new job right out of college in a couple weeks. And I was bummed. It just did not work out that we could go. And when the game was over, I could not be more elated that I was not in College Station for, I
Yeah.
believe a lot of people will describe that as football. That is not how I would
Yeah, that
describe
was
it.
tough to watch. It was
It
really
was
tough.
brutal, but that's okay. Hey, Drew, thank you so much. Before we say goodbye, I want to thank our sponsor. Huge thanks to our friends over at Bell Promo for sponsoring this, let's call it burnt orange level podcast for our friend
I
Drew.
like
When
that.
you're looking for the lowest minimums, deepest inventory, 5-star and A+ service, you can Bell Promo that, Drew. Always good to see you. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Have a great trip, and we'll see you at Expo.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot, Bill. Appreciate it, man.